What's up, everybody? The question was asked to me in one of the comments in the comment section. Has my view of marriage changed? And if this is your first time watching any of my videos and somehow you caught this in your feed, they're referring to the fact that I had been married from 1997 to 2017, starting the separation, which was finalized in early 2018 for divorce. And the process and what I learned, and I did a video on it and did other videos on relationships and dating and my different take on men and women. And they wanted to know, after all of that, has my view of marriage changed? And that's what prompted this title, Marriage Isn't for Everybody. I told them that it had changed my view. And what I mean by that, that's why I decided to just go ahead and do a video instead of just leaving a lengthy comment. Because I got married so young, and because I got married uh, with the heavy conservative church background and understanding, and because I was immature, and all this goes into being young, but I want to just break it down. By being young, I mean immature, undisciplined, um, just did not know how to handle things the right way, was not operating out of true love and affection, consideration, all the things that we look back in our life and we realize this is needed to have a healthy relationship. I wasn't operating in any of those things. But when I look back, and if I could go back to 20, I would say to myself, marriage is not for everybody. So that would be my current view. And I would also say, and I know y'all gonna cut up about this probably in the comment section, that marriage is not for most people. Now, for me to say something like that, again, coming from a heavy church background over 40 years, knowing what the Bible says, knowing how God and Christ feels about marriage and family, I would still say it's not for most people, especially here in the West. Let me put an asterisk by that. Especially here in the West. I don't think we understand vows. I don't think that we understand commitment, vows. We're not familiar. When we say to death do us part, not even understanding that along the way people are gonna change and we still have to be committed to that person and we still have to be committed to that vow. It doesn't matter if you wake up and your hormones are all over the place as a woman and you're not happy anymore, because a lot of times that's what happens. And let me say this too. I'm just going to add this in there parenthetically. I think, especially if you get married young, you have a vision or something in your mind. Let's just say you're a woman, right? Because women a lot of time will be more apt to live in a fantasy type world. So let's just say that you have a vision in your mind that you want to travel, and I'm just making this up, you want to touch all the continents of the world. You want to touch them. You ain't got to go to every country in there, but you want to touch all the continents. And then, for whatever reason, you don't do it yet. You have intention of doing it. You have dreams of doing it. You want to travel. You want to get a passport. You want them stamped out. But you get married and you have kids. You're giving yourself to a husband. You're giving yourself to the children. You're giving yourself to either being a stay-at-home mom or soccer mom or a work mom, whatever. And you wake up one day and you realize I put all my dreams to the side. And if I continue in this direction, my dreams that I really wanted to do will never come to pass. And let's be honest, because we're human, and especially, and I'm just using this as an example because women tend to be more emotional, especially as a woman, that can weigh on you. Whatever it was, I wanted to be a ballerina, I wanted to be a school teacher, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a nurse, I wanted to be a fitness coach. Your mind will start telling you all the things that you wanted to do that you sacrificed doing because of the route that you chose to go, that you wasn't aware that by taking this route, it was going to lead you into another direction. And that's the part that I think both men and women, but particularly because normally it's the woman, if you're talking about waking up and saying, or over time saying, I'm no longer happy, generally that's something you're going to hear the ladies say, which is not just happening in that moment, but it's a process of time, of not even just days, sometimes years, because of how women transmit information within themselves. They can be for years feeling a certain type of way till you get to the point where I'm just not happy no more. And that's just one reason, right? But I think especially when you are young, you can't foresee that because again, marriage is exciting. And boy, we're gonna spend the rest of our life together and we're gonna have these kids and oh yeah, we got this house and he's working on his career and I'm doing a little studying online and boom, 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 boom. Then you 30, 35. You say, man, I put all this aside. I'm unhappy because I didn't get to travel like I wanted, because I'm not the nurse that I want to be. And I'm not blaming women for the downfall of divorce. Men also have things that lead to their unhappiness that will cause them to no longer want to be in a situation. I'm just using that as an example. But my view of marriage is it's not for everybody. The problem is that by the time you figure out that it's not for you, you're probably in divorce or have been divorced. It's not something that you can read all the comments on some of my videos. On one of them, there's over 2,000 comments on one comment. People saying it's best not to get married at all. You can read all the comments. And even in that statement, although I lean towards that way for most people, there's still going to be the exception to the rule that can get married and stay together for 60 years. So it's not even universal. But I would say for the majority of people in the West, with the way things are set up now, it's not going to be for everybody. And that's my view. I wouldn't even say it's for most people. And that's just my view. With the laws set up the way that they set up, with the way that we have been raised, most people are not even coming from healthy homes. The majority of people, men and women, is coming from a toxic background. A great number of people are not getting the therapy and the healing and the self-reflection and the proper going through the proper channels to get this stuff worked out. So we're getting into relationship after relationship, and we're not healed. We're just bringing our flu sickness or whatever to the next situation, which after time, that's going to wear down and reveal what it really is. Then either you don't want to deal with that person don't want to deal with you. And if you're married, you may feel stuck. And if you have a child, you may feel stuck. And if you got businesses together, you may feel stuck. I just think in the West, it's not for everybody. I would even say it's not for most people. And I'm not saying that, I don't even want to say that. And I want to be very clear here. Professor X is not saying that with a negative view on marriage in itself. What marriage stands for is very powerful. A man and a woman coming together under God, creating a family, a union, an earthly empire, so to speak. That's powerful. Leaving a legacy, a dynasty, your name being carried on, matriarch, patriarch. It's very powerful. I just think in the West, it's not for everybody, and it's probably not for most people. We grew up in a different environment, maybe a different time, different atmosphere, but y'all know the truth. In America, most of us, including me, we're not going to keep vows blood in, blood out. Most are not. And marriage, if it's done correctly, has to be handled with such care and consideration and, to use a cliche word, gentleness and love between both people. I just don't think that in America it's for most people. I really don't. And the divorce rates prove that, not that marriage is bad, but most of us did not think it all the way through. And something, I mean, there's people in the comments, they're talking about abuse that they went through from both sides. I mean, there's just as many men in there talking about what they're putting up with from their wives as the women in there talking about what they had to put up with from their husbands. And you can just tell that two people got married and was not able to think it through. And that's the crazy part about life, is because you can't see it through. If it's not mended and taken care of every day, and again, most people, that's why I say marriage is not for everybody. Most people is not going to handle marriage every day at the level that it needs to be handled at. It's going to be neglected. And life is almost going to guarantee that it is neglected if you're not paying attention to it, if you're not on it. Like both people is going to have to be paying attention and saying, hey, we're here to take this thing serious. So we're not going to let it seep through the cracks. And so we end up one day in divorce court and having to start all over after 10, 15, 20, 30 years in this thing. It has to be literally taken serious every day. Your feelings towards that person, your commitment has to be renewed within yourself every day in order for it to really be successful. Every day, a man that's intentional about his marriage, when he walks out that door, he has to renew the vows within himself that I'm going into this crazy world that is full of access and made easier than ever. And I'm to be committed, not only when I go into the world, but what I pull up online, what the internet is providing, a personal commitment, women too, every single day. And if you remove all the distractions, that still don't mean you have a healthy marriage, because you still got to be working towards one another from day 1 to year 60. And I just feel, this is my new point of view now, in America, in the West, marriage is not for everybody, and it's probably not for most people. I think that different time, different place, it is to prevent, again, going by the Bible, to prevent fornication. Paul spoke of getting married in the scriptures because he didn't want people fornicating or having sex outside of marriage. But if it's not a strictly God thing on both sides, and I mean for real, in the West, it's just not gonna be for everybody. So that's my point of view now. It's subject to change, but that's my point of view now. If I could go back to 20 years old, because my point of view at 20 was everybody ought to get married. This is just, yes, everybody just gets married and love each other. Man, just you and her against the world. That's possible. But there's more. I think marriage, and then people say it too. Marriage takes work, but if you say that quick, it's kind of like you say, so you want to apply for a job. Somebody say, and that job, that's hard work right there. See how you say it? That's hard work. And then you say to yourself, well, I've done hard work before. I'm okay with that. Like, I've dug ditches, and so I've carried concrete, and I've done this and I've done that. So when they say it real casual, like when marriage takes work, and you say, well, I've done hard work. I'm familiar with hard work. No, marriage is going to be one of the hardest jobs that you will ever do, because you're working with the very same person every single day for the rest of your life through the ups and downs, and it has highs and lows, and you got to be able to ride the tide and still come out loving, respecting, and honoring one another. And in the West, with all of the ways that we have, I just don't think it's for everybody. But y'all get in the comments and tell me what y'all think. Anybody feel the way I feel, or anybody see the light as I see it? Not that it's the true light as I see it. If not, you see it your own way, or another thing has been revealed to you, put it in the comments, and I'll holler at y'all soon.